Okay, how you all doing? Right, bit of an interesting video this, but I'm hoping it's going to work. Because what I've done is I've put put the camera on a selfie stick, and it's at maximum distance away, as you can see there. Okay, so we're talking about alignment and all this. So I'm going to try and show you if I get myself here. Right. This is pretty much what everyone thinks is square, okay, and then I'm just going to move this slightly. This is attached, there you can see, it's on my shoulder line, okay, lead shoulder, right, so if I move in to this position here, right, you can see my lead shoulder is slightly ahead of my rear shoulder. Okay, see that there? Now people say that's closed, right? But when you actually put it on the flight line, which is the railway line on your feet, this lead shoulder has to be in front of the rear shoulder. Look what happens if this becomes, this is now in front and this is behind, and there is no way you can hit the ball from here without swinging out to in. And that would result in a fade. Standard golf mechanics. Now, this position here, which I'm in, allows your shoulders to go straight down, and then from there, that's backswing, straight up. Okay? Now, the reason it works so well, and the guys I was playing with at the weekend, some fine tuning still needs to be done on the short game, but my goodness, the driver, we're talking like, I've hit the driver normally quite consistent. I wouldn't class myself as a long ball guy, but when you start striping the fairway in the middle with a tight draw, and not only that, but it's long, and just the flight is different. It's a hard one to explain, but the most eye-catching thing about this whole swing technique, or sorting out where you should be in relation to, and this is the key, back on the shoulder line here with a selfie stick, okay? Now, when you come through an impact in this position here, you're on the 45. Your shoulders aren't square, but here's the key. It's a circle. A circle on a plane on the 45 this way, okay? But it's also a circle in space on the ground, okay? So your circle has to be on the 45 in two key angles. One, the plane, and you need to be on the flat 45 open at impact. Once you've achieved that, then finally all that wasted energy and wasted clubhead speed, everything is exactly where you need it at impact. And that is why, swap hands here, oh, selfie sticks, that is why the pros hit the ball so far, right? Because not only do they have good timing, but when you're setting up correctly over the ball and you've got your angle correct at address, with your hands on that powerful lever, you've already got more than 90% right before you've even moved the club back the way. Because once you do that, you're set. That's why it becomes like what I say, it's like riding a bike, automatic. And people who say, oh, you've got to have thoughts in the golf swing, I mean, I've lost the ability to click, but it goes back to conversations we had about everything needs to be preset before you get to the ball. So yes, you need to know what you're going to do, but you need to know that in your preset routine, pre-shot routine. When you're selecting the club, when you're looking at the ball to the target, when you're visualizing and seeing the shot, everything after that point is where this automatic comes in, because that's the length of time that your golf swing actually is in real time. Even if you're not like a tremendously fast swinger of the ball, once it's set in motion, there's very little you can do because it's already happened before, and here's the key point, before your brain can actually tell you what you've done, you've already done it, okay? I mean, that's how fast it is. And then the only thing you've got to go on after that is flight feedback, i.e. watching the ball. What did it do? Did it go straight to target? Did it go up to the right and then draw back to target? Did it go away and then fade back to the target? Right, and now that is something that you may analyse or say, oh, well, if I move this and that, then maybe I can affect a different ball flight. And that's something that you can do, but not on the golf course. You've got to work out your shot shape for that day and play with it, right, and stick with it, because maybe at the range you could move things about and watch the ball flight and say, oh, well, if I do that, I'm getting that. And it is good to know how to shape the ball, right? No one's saying that every shot you hit in golf should be straight, because you might be behind a tree and you need to fade one round the tree, or the reverse of that, you're stuck and you can't hit a fade, you've got to hit a draw. So yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. But again, those things are all worked out, not over the ball, before you get to the ball in your pre-shot routine, seeing the shot, choosing the club, watching the ball flight in your mind, picking a spot on the horizon, picking a letterbox, a hole to aim the ball through. I mean, you know, that's extreme. You've got to let your mind know that you want that ball to start off there, and you're making your aim point as small as possible so that your misses are as tight as possible. Because if you just say, yeah, I want to hit it up there, then, oh, well, that's exactly where the ball will go, away up there. But it could be like 200 yards offline, and you just think, well, I was aiming there, but were you? So the differences on the course with ball striking and distance control, hitting it further 5 to 10 yards does take a bit of time to actually bed back in to your game for scoring, but yeah, so it's definitely doable. And the good thing about this is, once you've tried this out for yourself, you'll realise that this preset routine is enabling everything to work where it needs to, from the top down and then to the ball. And like I say, it is similar to riding a bike. So just once you've got yourself there, there's no afterthoughts and there's no swing thoughts. It's just like, let's hit the ball. But remember, you've still got to do your pre-shot routine, as in where do you want that ball to actually go, and you can be a lot more accurate. You can be aiming for the left or the right part of the green. You can be aiming for the middle, the biggest part of the green. You can be like wiping out sucker pins and just playing smart around the golf course. And also you'll notice when you're on the tees as well, that you can start to be, well actually I'd prefer to be down the left side of this fairway, because the pin's over on the right and that will give me a better angle in. Before, you couldn't be that accurate, so there is huge gains to this. And it's all to do with this area here and here, from this lead shoulder to your neck, which is your spine, which is your center rotation point, right? And if you think this neck area stays on the railway line, but this has to move down and across the railway line, whereas this one's going up and back on that 45-degree angle. And the reverse when you come through, that's the key that people need to get their heads around. That even at impact, you're not, this head and your spine is behind the ball, looking at the back of the ball. If it goes in front of it, then there's only one thing you're going to do. You either hook it into oblivion, or you're going to hit a push cut or a cut, right? If you stay behind, you're going to hit it 9 times out of 10 straight, or you're going to hit it with a soft draw. And that's what I was telling you about that video. It's had over 16,000 views. It's all about the checkpoint. That checkpoint will move. It will be in the same place, but the longer the club, the further back it will be, the checkpoint, because the club's longer. And you'll find that with your longer clubs, you have a lot more time and a more powerful angle in the last angle to give you that power through the shot. We'll dive more into this in more detail, but hopefully this all helps you out there and you've enjoyed it and you've tried it, because if you don't try something, then you might have a lot of questions. You might think along linear lines, and you might get not confused. You just might think that the natural dynamics of golf would suggest that you can't be off the railway lines, right? And we've had a lot of people commenting about closed and open and closed and square, and impact's where it's all at. Impact where the ball and the club face need to be square to the flight line on the 45-degree angle in both circles, the flat circle and the plane circle, which are not on the railway lines as you think, or if you drew them on a flat piece of paper, right? You've got to expand that up across into the plane and then into 3-dimensional rotational space, which I think is the biggest thing holding most golfers back, because the railway track diagram, which is the oldest thing ever put down in a book, is flat 2D, just, and it shows you the lines also getting closer together on the horizon line, when they never get closer together, they always stay the same distance apart. Yes, you could have a debate about this, and that's where I think modern golf has lost its way as well. I talk about coaching and theorising in the game, right, and having discussions. But if you look at modern golf and coaches, 90% of them, either they're scared to have discussions like this, or they wouldn't even talk to someone about it, or they have a set plan that they use and they don't ever venture off into, right? So it's like, it's a hard one to put down, as in what would happen if, you know, pros. It would be interesting to see TaylorMade have the opportunity to do this. They've done it, have loads of videos with the likes of their tour players, right? It would be interesting, and they've delved slightly into it. If you've watched any of the TaylorMade stuff, it's good because you end up getting 6 or 7 top tour players, from Jason Day, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, right? And if you watch the videos enough, you'll see them where they start discussing, well, this is how I do it, and this is what I feel, and this is how I manipulate this wedge, or this is how I turn this to get the maximum out of my drive. Now you'll notice when they start talking about things like this, the lesson book almost goes out the window, because they've all got their own ideas, feels and techniques that they've adopted themselves from learning the game of golf, and it's very few of them that actually share these. So these discussions are actually worth watching on that TaylorMade Golf channel, and I know a lot of you just diss it and think that it's just a marketing ploy by these pros, but it isn't a marketing ploy, because once they start or move away from trying to sell you that product, you know, whether the wedge, the title wedge, the sim drivers, the whatever, the putters, right? And once they start going into, well, this is what I feel when I'm over the ball, and this is, you can learn a lot from that, because that's taken instruction into feel, into an individual's mindset as to how they go about playing this game of golf, which we all love. And what can you take from it? Well, everything and a lot, but everybody plays the game of golf their own way and in a different way to the next person. There will be similarities, but it is an amazing game that it keeps us all hooked. Even if you're playing terrible, we all get that one shot, or that one massive long putt, or the chip that goes in, that brings you back to play again. When you think, nah, I'm going to chuck the clubs away in the cupboard and leave them for I don't know how long, and then I might come back to it. But mostly people get that thing, that wee spark. We've all got it in us, and we've all got the ability to learn something new, even if you think that swing mechanics and the swing is hardwired. It's not, because there's multiple ways you can do it. So if it was hardwired, you would only be able to do that one way. And you can try it for yourself. You can hit loads of different shots with loads of different clubs. Nothing's hardwired. But thanks for watching. The whole thing about this channel is it's for charity. Macmillan, Help the Heroes and Shelter. And we've only just got monetised. Just in case you're interested, how much did we make last month from YouTube? We got 7,995 views. So we have made a grand total of roughly, I'm rounding it up, it's about £8 we made. Bearing in mind that for every 1,000 views you get £1.10. So £8 is going to charity. It's better than nothing. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe, and if you haven't hit the subscribe, you can hit the bell notification if you want. Supporting the channel is great if you can. There's a Patreon link as well. We'll go into why and put the Patreon link in at another time. But thanks for watching, genuinely. I hope you find this helpful, insightful and interesting. And I'll see you the next time. Thanks for watching.